Good morning, everyone. Tonia Reeves here, Australia's Cowgirl Medium, with my awesome buddy, Tony Kiss from the Human Repair Shop in Sydney. G'day, Tony. How are you?
Good, Tonya. Yourself. Good to see you. Happy New Year and everything. It feels like it's been such a long time. You're looking fantastic. You've got the sage going on. Hey, Tash, how are you? You're on board too. Tell me the story behind the sage. It's quite important, quite significant by the looks of it.
Well, I just think it's been a banger of a year so far. And I think it's like anything goes is the energy that I'm feeling right now. It's like, let's throw it out there and see what comes of things. But yeah, I'm smudging because it's like, hey, let's get a bit of grounding right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of things up in the air for many people. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think, you know, we're trying to integrate with it can be a bit of a challenge right now.
100%. Bridget, how are you? Good to see you on board. Hey, if you're on board, guys, tell us how your New Year's going. How's it started off for you?
Hey.
How was my holiday, Tony? It was great. Thank you, Tash. It was lovely.
Yes.
Ireland was great. It was, what should I say, Tonya? Would you say it was action-packed? Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah. So you need a holiday from the holiday?
Yeah, look, it was great. Look, I've got to say it was lovely to go to Ireland for the first time, Tonya. If you haven't been, or Tash or Bridget, you haven't been there, definitely go out there. It's absolutely amazing. Very hospitable, I'd say, very welcoming. I would say the people are, look, all was one of seven, so most of the siblings were there. So I got to meet everybody, do Christmas over there, which was lovely. The goal was to immerse myself back into the Irish culture, and I think I did that really, really well in a month. So it'd be great. So I'd strongly recommend to go to Ireland. Look, it was raining a lot of times. It was cold. It was 5 degrees. We went for a swim on Christmas Day, where it was 6 degrees outside, and I don't know what the water temperature was, but. Yeah, Tonya, if you've ever, I don't know, everybody's getting into these ice baths, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, just go to Ireland for a swim. And that's your ice bath. Look, but we got addicted to it. We surprisingly got addicted to it, Tonya, and everybody else. We most probably went for about 8 to 10 swims during our stay in Ireland. So that was amazing. So it wasn't just a one-off, and people were going in 24/7 all the time, which was really, really cool. Hey, Avichka, good to see you on board.
Hey, and Tash is saying she's been to holidays, and with the awesome Bridget knows all about this area. So Tash went to Bermagui and a couple of other places. Eden. Yeah, Eden's Bridget's birthplace. So how's that for 6 degrees of separation? Love it. It's a beautiful part of the world, Tash, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it is. It really is. I'm really happy for you, Tash. I'm really interested too. Tonya, did you get it? Who else got away? It just felt like there was this big thing where people were getting away from whatever their hometown was. Like for me, it's Sydney. For you, it's down in Victoria. You know, there are people up in Queensland. All they felt like when we came back and we asked what was it like around our local area, everybody just said it was dead. Everybody had left the area. There was tumbleweeds coming through the streets. So I was wondering if it's the same in your world as well. What happened? So what did you guys do, Tonya? Did you go away?
Yeah, we went. We've been everywhere, man. Like this year started off with a bang. We did go away, but we had to be back middle of Jan a little bit early because Andrew had some work to finish. So we didn't end up. We got to the Western Australian border, so we travelled across the Nullarbor, and then we said, you know what, we're not going to rush this. So so we decided then to do the Eyre Peninsula in South Australia. So we actually did a lot of the coast in and around South Australia, and that was incredible. Loved it. Absolutely.
Yeah, wow. That's a nice look. We've got such a great country to explore, and it sounds like you guys have done some really cool parts. Yeah.
And since then, Tony, we've been to Brisbane. We bought another motorhome, one to flip. Yeah, as you do. Just flew up to Brisbane, bought that one. Now we're in the middle of doing that one up, and then found a car. So then drove up to Bathurst last week and drove back down again.
Did you guys go to the 12-hour, the Bathurst 12-hour?
No, we were up there that weekend. We had Andrew wanted to do a lap of. He likes to do the track with the motorhome, and then he videos it. That's his little thing. But we couldn't because, of course, the 12-hour was on. So, we would have, but we rescued a dog. So we had a spare dog that was, with us, and she was taking a little bit to settle in with the other dogs, and we didn't want to. If we left them all in the motorhome, we might come back and there's bloodshed everywhere.
There's one less dog. Yeah, absolutely. Nick, good to see you on board, buddy. Avichka says here, we had a staycation It was so needed and rested, totally chilled, except for Christmas Eve, Steve's Sydney trip. Yeah, look, I think it would look, Avichka, you're absolutely right. A lot of us were burnt out at the end of the year and just needed to chill out. But it sounds like you actually had the perfect remedy for what you needed. Same with the family.
Yeah.
Bridget's heading over to Vanuatu. Congrats. That was going to be a really, really cool holiday to have, which is really nice. And Tash comes up with a nice one here. Look at this one here, Tonia. I've already made a hard decision this year. Tash, you can't just open up like that.
Yeah, come on, Tash. Yeah. And
yeah,
Avichka, we want some of your insights for 2023, Avichka, because it is wild. I agree. So far, It's like, whoo. And I think we're all kind of forward to a slower one after the wrap up of last year, but ain't happening.
Yeah, no. And it feels like feels like their year has just started in February. People feel like they're just switching back online now, which is quite interesting. Are you saying the same thing?
Yeah. Yep. I was at the beginning of the year, I went, no, it's not going to vamp up to the start of Feb, which is like the Chinese New Year. And I kind of think it did, that was it. The last week's been where it's been boom and just a bit crazy. I definitely feel we're reminded to be present and not as on and that this year. And for me, that's been like leaving my phone behind a lot. So I haven't been doing any lives probably as what I would normally. And again, just being in contactable as much. So that for me is taking a bit of pressure off and I do feel better for it.
Yep.
So Tash, come back here. Let's see. Tash.
Go for it.
Reading about her youngest son looking at putting him in shared accommodation because he's not safe with her ex. Well, that's a great step, Tash. That is a great step, a positive.
It's not an easy one to actually do. As you said, it is a hard decision. I really feel for you here because so putting him in shared accommodation because he's not safe with mates, look, that's got to be a hard call for a parent, because you'd like to think, Tonia, yourself being a parent and for everybody else out there as well, I suppose when you have a child with somebody, you think that your partner would be the safest person that child can hang out with. And when that partner becomes the threat, it's like, Jesus, that must just, as a mum, does it just throw your whole world upside down, or what's it do for you?
I would imagine that. And a big decision, something that would weigh heavily, Tash. I'm hoping your partner's there to support you like he was last year as well. It always helps to have somebody that's got your back and can help you through that.
Yep. Avichka's got some good insights here.
Yes, I love Avichka. We love your insights. Letting go of any expectations of what you think needs to happen. Let go of control and go with the flow. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good reminder, isn't it? A really 100%. Good reminder.
As she says, year of the yarrow. Yeah, go on.
No, sorry, Tony. I'm here babbling. Just tell me to shut up.
Year of the yarrow, so this can be a little bit unpredictable. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah, absolutely. Avichka, I think we can all resonate with that a little bit. It is, I think, coming out of COVID for the last 2.5 years, and then this silly season that we'll call it, that just came up. It felt like everybody went hell for leather. For some reason, it was like you've just turned 18 and you're allowed to go back. You're allowed to go into a pub for the first time in your whole life, and everybody just went absolutely, Tonia. If we're playing charades, it's called New Year's Eve 2023. That's what you'll be symbolizing. It was absolutely that, and I think now we're sort of like got this indulgence hangover at the moment, is what we're going through at the moment, and we're trying to settle it back down. We're trying to come back into balance, what's normal, because we've been out of kilter for such a long time. So let's just ease into this one. It's like, look, I'm not immune to any of this. I definitely feel like my feathers have been ruffled as well, as in like, shit, what's just happened? I've just been put in a washing machine and now I've come out of some end. So it's go with the flow. I like it. It's pretty good. And Pete's on board as well.
Pete's on board. Hey, Pete, much love to you. Great to see you on board. Tony, so you guys will be back, like it's almost like you've had a full-on holiday, then thrown back into off you go with the business and things being pretty flat out. So that's a fair.
To be honest, we didn't have a holiday. we had, honestly, Tonia, it felt like a presidential tour. and I was just meeting and greeting people every morning, noon, and night, and that went on for pretty much 30 days, and that was it. And we did have 3 days away in a lovely place called Dingle, which was great. Hey, Jen, how are you? Good to see you all as well. Good to see everybody on board.
Jen.
So yeah, hey, look, I'd love to hear how things are going for you. Nick, you jumped on board before. You've always got some really good insight. How do you see yourself and your year shaping up? Bridget, give us the same. Everybody just jump on board and see. Avich has shared with us really nicely, which is nice to see. Yeah, Dingle is gorgeous. Have you been there, Jen? Obviously you have. You can only say Dingle is gorgeous if you've been there. It's west coast of Ireland. It's down south. It's in a County Kerry, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's where they film Star Wars and things like that. Wow. Yeah, it was actually we had a good experience there. And as you know, Tonia and everybody else, I don't know if everybody else, Orla and I got engaged in Ireland, so I went through that whole process, and that was good fun. And what happened was, Jen, we came to realize we had no time on our own throughout this whole presidential tour of Ireland. And we booked it. And I wanted to go down to Kerry, and I wanted to go down to Dingle because Orla's auntie lives down there, and she wanted me to meet her as well. So we basically had 3 days down there, which was great. There 2 days of absolutely lashing rain and 1 day of blue skies. So yay, go Ireland. It was beautiful though. It was good.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So how did you manage to, you smuggled the ring in? Like, how did you go with it? Yeah.
Look, doing the ring was really, congratulations. Thank you very much, Jen. Yes. Getting the ring across, that was quite interesting. We were in the clinic. We were absolutely hammered. We even had somebody at front desk start with us. Even then, we were booked out 13 hours a day, 12 to 13 hours a day, back to back. We had no time for anything. I had windows of 30-minute opportunities to get out and get to shops and look for an engagement ring. And yeah, Vichka, yes. Thank you, Narelle. It's very kind. And then so I went to 4 different suburbs, 4 different jewelers, or 5 or maybe 10 different jewelers. And finally I got to this one where I kept on picking up, I go, I like that ring, I'll take that one there, blah, blah. And I go, oh, sorry, we don't have your partner's ring in her size. And I'm going, Jesus Christ. Finally I get to a jeweler and they go, look, it was the second jeweler I went to who said, they go, look, we're going to be honest with you, jewelers only keep 2 sizes of rings. Other than that, everything has to get resized and it has to get custom made and blah, blah. And I'm going, oh, Jesus Christ. So I went into Pandora, and because what I was told, a lady from Michael Hill, I'll give her a plug, Michael Hill in Broadway, she was absolutely brilliant. She goes, look, you need to get a makeshift ring. You need to go to Pandora or somewhere like that. I'll have every size that you can think of. Because I had a week before or a week and a half before I'm flying to Ireland. And she goes, just get a ring, and then when you come back, then get the ring that you want. I go, oh, Jesus, I wish I met you first. I wish you were the first shop I went into. So that's right. I went to Pandora. I got her a ring. And it was absolutely gorgeous. We're gonna make a carbon copy of the ring that I got from Pandora because it is so cool. And
for $150, that's a Hungarian ring.
Exactly. But I told Orla as well. I go, this is look. And then the worst thing was I'm not a very good liar. If I was brought into an interrogation, I'd be shit. Like all of us would die, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm saying. I'm the first one to go. And we're in the elevator at home, and I get to take my keys out of my pocket, and out of my pocket, her ring falls out. Not the one that I bought as an engagement ring, but one of her old rings. And she goes, oh, that's my ring. And I'm thinking, fuck, where did that ring come from? And then I forgot I left it in my pocket when I was getting it sized up for her ring. And she goes, where's that from? And I go, and I'm looking at the seal and go, I just found it on the ground at home, and I knew it was yours, so I just put it in my pocket. I was going to, put on your jewelry box or whatever later on, but I forgot. Right, and that's pretty much how I delivered it. And then, so the funniest was, what was it? And then we had to wait for a moment of opportunity. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I asked the father's hand in marriage. But the hardest thing was to get 5 minutes alone with him in an Irish family during Christmas. My God, there was not one moment where me and him were just hanging out. There was always somebody else around. So we took him away for a weekend to a place called Westport, which was absolutely beautiful. and all are organised that we went up there, spent the night there, and we went to a bar just before we went out for dinner. And the girls go, oh, let's go up and get ready for dinner. You know, it was like 5:45. And her father's name's Mihal. And Mihal and I looked at each other and we looked at the clothes we had on and we go, no, we're pretty right for dinner. We should be good. We're going the way that we are. We had tracksuit pants on. No, he had jeans on. I had a pair of trackies on. I had sneakers on. We were in holiday mode, so we were pretty good. We both had a whiskey in front of us, which always helped. And Tonia, it was like the stars had aligned and the moment had appeared. And it was the moment that I had to grab. It was either now, it was a now or never moment. And if I've got angels around me, they're all saying, Tone, it's now. You're on. There's no other time.
I love it.
So it was great. Like I asked, you know, how would you feel if I asked for your daughter's hand in marriage? And he got really emotional, which was quite beautiful. And he actually cried and he went, oh, he goes, you know, I was hoping for somebody better. But you know, you'll do. No, he didn't say that. But he actually, he was really, really happy for it. And then, the night goes on and the rest is history. And then I got to propose to, I think, a day and a half after, once again, waiting for that one opportunity. But let's have a look here. Thank you for all the congrats, Leanne. Thank you as well.
Yeah, I love the story. Like, Avich has captured that. The story behind the ring is going to be the best. Like, that's part of history, isn't it? Woo-hoo.
Yeah, it is. It is. She's right. Both of you are right. It's about the. If it went smooth, if it went seamless, it's not a good story. It's like, no, we had heaps of stuff ups. Don't you worry. King of stuff ups.
That's part of the fun, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
Nick shared here, and you know, it's interesting because again, so Nick's in alignment with what Avichka's saying as well, energetically. So Nick said mine's been all about movement. My nephew moved into his house, so I was helping him move and have been cleaning my sister's place to sell, and I'm moving back with Dad. So in the last week, became a great uncle. I've sold my sister's place. Sometimes we have to let go of emotion so that our hearts can be open to free our internal soul. So I love that, Nick. That's a really great share. And, you know, I think it's great to be able to share what we're all experiencing right now because it is a little bit unsettling, is what I want to say.
Yeah. Okay, that's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, and Nick, look, geez, Nick, talk about, I like how you're able to just go, it's all about movement. And mate, you're not wrong. You're talking about moving mentally, emotionally, physically, you name it. You're moving on every level here. And congrats as well, becoming a great uncle. And also, it is really, really nice to hear that you're moving in back with Dad. I'm just wondering how's Dad's health and you know, what's going on there with him. But it is a pretty cool thing. Nick, what about book-wise, promotion-wise? How are you going this year? Any big things? Have you taken, I hope, a leaf out of Tonia's book and you get up on stage, mate, and do what you love doing most?
And Rupert's on board. G'day, Rupert.
Rupert Guinness, how are you, sir?
Where are you, Rupert? Are you on tour or are you back home? Or I love to follow.
Look, Rupert's been doing it's most probably the best I've seen Rupert in the last 2 years on a lot of different levels. He finished, he went down to the Tour Down Under, which is Australia's premier cycling event, and he went down as a journalist. He actually rode down there from, from Bright in Victoria with a bunch of other guys. He goes, I'm at home a bit safer. He's in his zone. He's most probably ridden 3,000 kilometres this morning just as a warm-up. But Rupes is a guy that I've got a lot of respect for. And Rupert, you are really a person who's put in a lot of time and energy into your own self-development, which is, he's gone through a career transition and everything like that. And he's really, you know, it goes to show you at the age of 60, you can actually flip your whole career around, go down a new path, something that gives you growth, gives you fulfillment. You know, it's blood, sweat, and tears, and it's not always pretty, but he's really persevered, and yeah, which is really good. Yeah, I saw you went to that David Goggins talk last night. It sounded very inspirational. So, look, Rupert's I think I've always said this to others. I think Rupert's a great example of what you can achieve, regardless what age you are. Like, if you're thinking of flipping your whole career, you got to understand Rupert Guinness is an established sports journalist that's been aligned with the Sydney Morning Herald, with SBS television, and had that career for 30 years. Like, really, that a lot of people would have just sat in that and just gone, okay, I've done that. Let's go do something else now. And he's just going on great guns at the moment. So really proud of him. Really good example of what can be done.
Awesome. And Avitchka's putting here, I've already been shown the last few weeks, just when I think I have a plan, I'm totally in control. I get wiped out by a wave I didn't see coming, parked on my butt to reconsider and revisit it all again. I think it is a little bit like that too, Avitchka. It's almost like not having a plan is a plan at this very point in time. And I think sometimes we forget that that can be surrender. You know, sometimes we need to surrender to that void, or, you know, just stopping and being like Rupert, you know, laying on the couch, allowing ourselves to have that moment to be able to regroup and go, you know what, I'm just going to be an allowance of what's coming along. And that's often when great opportunities come knocking that you really don't expect. So I think that's great.
It is quite interesting, as you say, Tonia. I mean, like, for Avitchka to do what I'm really liking here about Avitchka is actually being able to surrender to that moment and not push through it and persevere. Go, no, I'm going to put my head in the sand, and this is exactly how I want to do it. That shows a lot of, I'd say, emotional intelligence to do that. And I think we are, Avitchka. I think you're really correct. And a lot of people are going through this moment is like, hold on a second, what I used to do or what I want to do, it's not really lining up for me. For some, like Tonia, you'd know this, and a lot of you guys would know. You talk about, you know, is the universe closing a door for you, and is it slamming it pretty hard at the moment in saying, you know, your perseverance stuff, just forget about. Just is there an element to that as well?
Absolutely, because sometimes I think, you know, as we journey through this experience in life, we have preconceived ideas, or we have ways that we think things are going to go that are based on maybe ideals that you had 10, 20 years ago. And even though we've changed since then, we can sometimes still be hanging on to that narrative, you know, even subconsciously. So we're not really conscious of it, but we're still those tapes are running in the back of our heads. So we're not updating to, you know, to what is feeling good now. And I had this conversation with a class that I've been running, you know, that we need to sometimes revisit where we sit with things. Are we doing something because we are getting that love from it, or we have that passion for it, or are we doing it because it's expected of us, or we'd always planned to do that, so we're just kind of sitting in that rather than revisiting that I don't know what you call it, like you drive to want to do it. Like, is that drive still there?
Yeah, look, it's, you know, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Tonia. I think it's when you say you got to get driven by something that you love doing, not because you think you should be doing. Now, there's a big difference in that as well. And I think we're starting to tap into that a little bit more. We're starting to tap into what really drives us. What are we really passionate about? And once again, I'll draw upon yourself and even Rupert Guinness as well. You know, yourselves doing what you absolutely love doing, and you're thriving in those elements. Rupert going out there and cycling, doing crazy things like cycling across America, which is just insane, and creating a community of people to join in with him. It's just absolutely amazing. It really, really is good. So I think it really is. Now it's, are we starting to strip off the outer layers and trying to find out what the core is of what we truly love, and then following that instead of what we think we should be doing?
Yeah, that's right. Get rid of the should, because, you know, we often that is a narrative that runs, you know, I should be doing this, and then there's guilt associated with that. And, you know, once we start carrying that around, you know, we don't get clarity.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I was
Jen's got a good one here. Yeah, she's been unpacking boxes, deleting photos of people no longer in my life. I'm in a good place myself, feeling happy and content the last few months. Started my business from home. Finally got my first assessment back. Lost in cyberspace since October, and I got 100%. Boys are back at school and enjoying it so far. It's been a week with no dramas. Went for an interview yesterday, went well. I'm just going with the flow and where I'm drawn to. I love that. Love that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a lot, Jen.
Jen, that is huge. It cracks me up a little bit. I read the first part, Tonia and Jen. Okay, we've been unpacking boxes, deleting photos of people no longer in my life. And I'm going, Jen's going through a breakup. It's sort of like what a teenage girl would do. And I go, yeah, you go, girl. You go, get that person out of there. But good. Look, I like the cleansing that Jen's doing. I really do. Like, see you later. Gone. I don't need that energy in my life anymore. Started my business from home. What's business? What is the business that you're starting from home? I'd be really interested in to know that, Jen. And I like how you go. I got my first assessment back lost inside. So in October, got 100%. Congrats on getting 100%. But I've got a gut feeling somebody would have lost it inside. So there. Yeah, we've lost it, but we've given you 100%. Is that cool? Are you okay with that? Is that's all? We're trying to make up for it, Jen.
Don't listen to him, Jen. I love it.
And it's funny to say too. She goes, the boys are back at school, enjoying it so far. Look, I think it's also when kids go back, when the boys go back to school, it puts you back into a routine as well. So, and you went for an interview as well. Tell us what happened there. I'm interested. Tell me about the business, what interview you went for. But congratulations, Jen. It sounds like it's going really well.
And Avichka's put in here, I have a very reflective time, seeing growth and calm, finally being in a place of peace and surrender. That's great. Yeah. And being proud of how I have transformed. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's a nice acknowledgement there, Avichka. And it's taking you a little while to get there as well. Like we've been on this journey, a part of it, I know, with you over the last year or so. So it's really nice to actually have that. So good on you. It is a place of, one thing I love about this feed, Tonia, is about this community, is how we inspire one another just to transform a little bit or push ourselves a little bit in a direction that feels a little bit uncomfortable. But, in time, and we've spoken about this before, in time it pays dividends. You can't go for the instant gratification because it doesn't happen. And that's what I think we've been, brought up. I mean, like that's the whole thing about alcohol. You can have 2 shots of tequila and it's instantly fist. Life doesn't work like that, okay? Ladies and gents. It takes a little bit longer. Yeah, I know. Yes, absolutely. Nick's got one. Yeah, go for it.
So Nick's put, Dad's 89, so just want to spend some time with him, healing for both of us. And yes, I've started doing expos again, have a stall at Sydney and Melbourne, MBS. Yay! Talking on stage, steps. Oh, Sydney, I think you need to visit the human repair shop, Nick. Yeah,
are you doing Sydney as well, Tom?
Yes, yep. I'll be pretty much Melbourne and Sydney, Brisbane at the end of this month. Yay! Not long to go now. Yeah.
Look, Nick, congratulations on this. Doing the expos again, that's fantastic. We'll have to catch up. The 3 of us will definitely catch up and have a coffee and hang out. I'd love to see you stand and see how you go. MBS on stage. Okay, so he's on stage for Melbourne. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, Melbourne and Sydney's got a stall and doing some stage. Yay!
Nick, well done, brother.
Nick,
really proud of you. Really proud of you.
I wanted to bring up Rupert's because it's so cool. And, for someone with having his experience to share this as well, I think it's great confirmation that, agree. It's very easy to find yourself on a journey where you're doing what people say you should be doing and forgetting that it's your journey. And I think that nails it. I love that. Yeah,
look, talking personally, look, Rupert, and all of us have, and I love how open he is about. I've mostly seen in the last 2-3 years where Rupert's had that struggle of like, what is it that I really want to do? And unfortunately, Rupert was in a vulnerable position where he goes, I'm going to throw away journalism for a little bit to a degree and focus on doing cycling and promoting mental well-being. And the thing is, when he got into it, he was pulled in so many different directions by so many bits of advice from different people. And when you're vulnerable, it's really hard to actually listen to yourself because you're clutching onto straws constantly. Yeah. And that's where what Rupert's saying is like, you know what? Stuff what other people says you should be doing, it's what you should be doing. And that's basically, and that's why I've seen that in Rupert now, where he's got this clarity about how he wants to do things. He knows where he wants to go, but now how he wants to do it. And that's the biggest difference. And it's really, it's a good little share there, Rupes. Thanks for that, mate.
And, a really powerful exercise that I find is,
sit-ups,
probably
push-ups.
Yeah, sit-ups. I can't do those.
I started this week, Tonia. I've got a Guinness baby coming along. I've got to lose it. Go
on. Is writing down. It's like taking a moment to sit in your own space and write down, what it is that maybe you want to highlight this year, or what you're feeling intuitively sits right with you right now. You sit down and write that out, and then as you journey along, you'll find that friends or other people, or you'll get confirmation where you might be chatting to someone and then they bring up that exact bit of advice that actually is in alignment with what you're thinking yourself. And it's amazing how powerful that is, just to do that exercise and watch the universe deliver those little tips that help you along the way. And and that also, it enables you to trust that inner guidance that we all have. We all get the right guidance, but we just, like you said, Tony, we want to hand it over to somebody else sometimes and get the answer, because we don't validate ourselves. We think, oh, well, that's just a thought, or that's silly. Erica's shared a couple of points here, which I want to bring up. Wanting to perform again, but so much anxiety. And, a really powerful message I had last week, and I'm just at the moment running a 6-week course of with a group that are connecting to their sixth sense or psychic development.
I saw that. Has many people jumped on board?
Yeah, we're pretty much booked out for that. That's 6 weeks.
That's a great course. Yep.
Yeah, and one of them was a big message. So Spirit normally will give me a message prior to class, and then I'll put it there, and then it unravels itself in the class. So the week one was about stepping out of your comfort zone. Like nothing great comes from a comfort zone. And Erica, that this is where, like, wanting to perform again, the anxiety, it's sometimes too, we've got to sit with, is it anxiety, or is that your soul excitement? And oh my God, like, is it like, is it that? And we do, and I know, Tony, you explain this better than me, but we want to stay in our comfort zone because it's the way we control things, isn't it?
I like the faith that you have in me, Tonia. I think you're doing really well, by the way.
I know you've got the answer to this. Then you say it way better than me.
Anxiety doesn't have an emotion. We attach an emotion to it. So anxiety it's energy. Anxiety is energy, and it's basically, from a psychological perspective, it's warning you for a future event that can be positive, negative, whatever. But that's what it's getting you ready for. That's a nutshell. You said it much better. But what Erica says,
no pressure. And she's also sharing here once again, like starting over.
Yep. So letting go of old coping mechanisms like drinking, lots of shame and fear around that. Erica, you're not alone on this. You really aren't. Thanks for opening up on this one. This is a really good one. Look, do you know what, Tonia? I don't know if you remember, if everybody else remembers. Last time Tonia and I did one on cutting down alcohol and using alcohol as a vice to get you through it. Both of us on our feeds, on our Facebook feeds, had a whole lot of non-alcoholic drinks pop up. Do you remember that? Yes. It was insane. I was like, we became these advocates for non-alcoholic beers and ciders and all this other crap. And my friends never let me forget it. However, let's have a look at, you're right, Erica. It is alcohol can be a coping mechanism, and it really helps you actually deal with it in the short term. And I'm talking about 3-4 hours. It's pretty much it. The problem is the problem still lies there. The shame and the fear around it. The shame is, geez, why did I go down the path of having a drink? And the other bit of shame is, why didn't I just, have a look and reflect upon myself and look for the answer within, instead of looking for an answer within a bottle? And that's where some of the shame comes. The fear is, oh my God, will I go back to the bottle again? You do, you normally do. Or am I going to feel anxious again about, how I deal with a future situation? A whole lot of stuff like that. But look, I think what Tonia said before, Erica, writing it down, doing a bit of a journal, look for a new coping mechanism. So, I'm sure there's a lot of us out there. If you guys have got some really good coping mechanisms of how to get through anxiety, my first one, if any, is going to be breathing. We've been talking about breathing's the new fad in the last 3-4 years. It's been around for thousands of years. Breathing exercises is a really good thing to do. That's where I would start, if anything, just to really silence and center yourself.
And I also think take the judgment out. We as humans, we judge everything. So sometimes it might be, you've had excessive amounts of alcohol and then you hate yourself for it. And that's where we put shame, we put guilt, we put all of these negative connotations. And I'm not saying that, alcohol is necessarily ideal, but I think sometimes take the judgment out and say to yourself, I'm doing the best that I can. Like really, we want to build ourselves up, because that's when we can build up that internal dialogue, that's when we don't need the coping mechanisms. But while we're in the throes of it, and often, I know I've been there 100%, and sometimes definitely dive back in that path of, oh my God, how am I going to cope with this? I'll have a drink, or I'll do, something that's sabotaging. So it is an up and down journey. But I've found when I release the judgment and being annoyed at myself or being angry with myself for doing it and going down that path, then it doesn't take a hold of me. And then I'm able to then sit and go, okay, moving forward, that was yesterday, here I am today. I'm going to look forward, and I'm not going to put that, that set of judgment on myself. And I find that it kind of allows you to let go of that hold of feeling you need to do that.
100%. Yeah, some really good advice there. Gilly's on board. Hello.
Hey, Gilly, soul sister from the US. Love, Gilly. Amen to all of this, trusting your own flow and intuitive inspirations, following what really resonates, makes you feel alive and grounded and balanced. I love it. Couldn't have said it better, Gilly.
Yeah, really nice. Jen's come back really quickly from a question that we asked her, like what is a new business that she's starting up? And it's called Energy Healing. It's called Access Pure Energy. And that's her business name, which is really cool. So good luck with it, Jen. I think you'll do really well. I think this will be a very, very big year of people looking for that kind of stuff, where it's energetic healing, whether it's counseling, whether it's self-development, whether it's physical, whatever it may. A lot of repairing this year, a lot of coming back into who are we, what makes us tick, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and put it out there, Jen.
Absolutely. Remember, Tony Ann did share with us last year that this year will be about self. So it's digging deep. And, that really stuck with me. And I really thought that was great advice, from a numerologist, to say this year will be quite a powerful year for, and stepping up into not just our sole purpose, but supporting ourselves and doing any work that needs doing. So whether it's healing or, we're feeling like we want to do some work around personal development, it's a great year for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really encouraging.
This is your best book. Have you read this book, Tony? You would have read it at some point.
Many years ago. I've actually read the second one as well after it. Yeah, it is. It's a great one, isn't it, Monica? Becoming some of this stuff also comes from values. Yeah. Look, it's a great book. Mark Manson, who wrote the book, really good author, very quirky, great blog post if you ever want to follow that. And he gives you a different spin on life. Have you actually read it as well, Tonia?
Yes, I have. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's a great little. It's a nice little reflection on. It gives you this is how he perceives life and everything, and he cuts through all the crap really, really well. That's what makes it really attractive, I suppose. Gives you some good home truths.
Rupert's sharing one of. I actually, because I'm looking, going, I know that name. I downloaded his book and started reading it. That's how I know who this guy is. I'm like, yes, I knew the name. So was he live here in Australia? Is that where Rupert saw him, Tony?
Was he doing it? Yeah, he's doing the rounds at the moment, the Sydney speaking tour rounds. So he'll be doing a few things. What's he say here?
I'll let you read it because I'm just hogging the reading time.
No, go for it. No, you've got a lovely narrating voice. We'll go with this. Go on, Tonia. Go.
Okay. One of the things Goggin spoke of was the value of vulnerability, of embracing one's vulnerability and trying to work on them. Is that it helps rid one's fear. Okay. The art of being vulnerable.
Yep.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
And to follow on that, Roops, here you go. This is another one from, what's her name? Brene Brown, who was the I suppose, the expert on vulnerability as in our modern era. She talks it. Her quote is, "If you can feel it, you can heal it." And it's all about vulnerability, where you're saying exactly the same as what you're saying, Roots, is when you embrace one's vulnerability. So if you can feel that vulnerability, and then you can have a conversation with it and not treat it as an enemy, then you can help override it, which is quite an interesting thing. It's like that example that I said. What was it? Remember that movie Merlin I've spoken about before, where he has this witch chasing Merlin all over the countryside. It's to get his powers, and then right at the end of the movie, he gets cornered by this witch, and Merlin turns around and he goes, "I'm not running from you anymore." He goes, "I'm only running from you because I think you're a threat and that you're going to take over. But if I stop believing that you're a threat and just look at you as you are, then you'll mean nothing to me." And he turns his back on her, and as he walks away, she melts and she dies because the threat's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Monica's been. This is a good point. I like this point that Monica's brought up, which is interesting. I've been exploring my values. It's really interesting when asked who you are, what you value, asking why do we value this? Is it a mismatched value to your belief system? Now, this is probably a good way to work out if that narrative that we're running is in alignment, isn't it?
Yep.
To be able to, and Tony, I know you're great at values. Values is something that you often speak of, and which I think is really great.
Two things. Values. The worst thing with a value is it can give you a reaction from the subconscious level that you don't realize what a value is until it's actually threatened or it's actually somehow ignited. And so the thing is, when you go into look, when I go into a real simple way, give me things that piss you off really quickly, right? Really quickly. Like, is it somebody? For me, it's
rude.
when
somebody rude. I can't tolerate someone that's rude. I'm just like,
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So that means a value of yours could be, let's say, manners, just for example, because you go to the opposite of it. Is to be courteous, to be inclusive, to not be rude. Everything that rude isn't, the polar opposite of that will become your value. So for me is when I see somebody else get belittled, irks me. I will stick up for them. I'll defend them. I'll do whatever. I have this uncontrollable Hungarian tribal way of dealing with it. I burn their village down one way or another. Now, Tonia, in modern times, you're not allowed to do that. You can't burn villages anymore. So,
namaste.
Namaste. I do, a lot of meditation. Thank you, people. So, Monica, it really is. It's finding out what is. Then you can go down to that value that you hold and ask why you hold it for. What's the purpose? Where is it coming from? And then we start to go into a whole lot of different things. So then you can really pick and choose your values. You can see what really means a lot to you. But it's the subconscious ones that do your head in, and that's where you want to start to explore. I'll go on for days about this, but it'll just confuse the living daylights out of myself, Tonia, and everybody else.
I love it. And what else? Sean. Hey, Sean, how you going? What you spend your money on shows your value. Isn't that interesting? I never thought of that.
Sean, explain. Sean, I love you to death, and you've actually done that thing, Sean. Naughty you! You hit me right between the eyeballs, and you ask these provoking questions. Go, oh, tell me, you are so tricky. You are like a magician, Sean. So let's explain. Let's go. I want more. Oh, you've got on front row seats, Sean. Give me more of this. All right, are you the same, Tonia?
I love it because I went, okay, what do I spend my money on? My animals.
Same here. Anything besides Dan Murphy's, like, so scrap that off. Now go, Tonia. What else do you spend money on?
Yeah, I'm like thinking I spend money in a lot of different things. Like I couldn't just say there's one specific thing.
Do you know what? I don't know about you guys. I find it very hard to spend money on myself. I'll spend money on others and this, that, the other. When it comes to me, I'm terrible at it, Sean. I suck. I really do. Help me, brother. What do you guys like around that? That's what I'd be like. And by the way,
myself.
Yeah, so you're good. You've got a lot of self-love there.
I have. I love, like, I value, like, even like when I'm at the MBS, I'm like, I go around and I love supporting, but for me also, I love supporting small business, and I get a lot of joy. And sometimes I'll buy things for me, and I'm like, I don't really need that, so then I'll give it to somebody else, or I'm pretty much, if somebody loves something that I've bought for myself, even with jewelry, I've had people like go, oh my god, I
Okay,
love
ladies
that.
and gentlemen,
There you
see
go, have it,
how Tonia's
have it.
talking a lot right now. She's talking nervous chatter. She's just going on and on and on. What the guilt associated, Tonya?
It's our
I just
first show back. I'm excited. I get to talk.
I just want to know, when you buy something that's absolutely of no value to you or absolutely useless, and you give it away or something, do you let Andrew know about these things?
He wouldn't care about it. He's like,
Now, I'll ask the question again.
no, he's very generous. He's probably exactly the same. He's like, oh, that person needs that. Go and get it for them.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to rewind back for a little bit of a second. Erica was talking about getting over anxiety and things like that, and if there's any techniques. And there's a couple of great things here. Just want to go back to Jen and Nick. Jen says breathwork works really well. Slow down breathing until you feel yourself come back down, which is a really nice thing. So bring that energy back down. Really nice tip there, Jen. Nick also says this, and once again, it comes back to breathing, is step away from the situation, breathe, and when you're ready to go back, and explain it from your perception. So I think what Nick's saying there is take a deep breath and slow down, and then possibly perceive it from a third person of like, what is actually going on? Or what are you actually freaking out about? Or what could happen, things like that. So I think that's a nice way, just flipping the perception of what the actual so-called drama or threat may be in that. So I just wanted to put that in there because I think that was pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love Lindy Jewel's cards are amazing, Jen. And I've actually interacted with her. She's a legend. Lindy Jewel is a psychic medium, and she has the swearing oracle cards, and they are the best. And even she does a lot of lives. You can't help but not love her. She's just, and she's commented on my posts, and I've commented on hers, and we've interacted. She's awesome. Love her.
But, can I just say, Jen, no. She does this with excitement once again. Talking about when you buy something that you don't need, absolutely, but you just buy it, it's on sale or whatever. She goes, I do that, Tonya. Lol. I'm not. I haven't bought something for someone, then realize it was actually for me.
There you go. I love that. It's all it's all that energy. That's it. Let's see what Sean's come back with. Not much different when we say follow the money. When cash is tight, you keep what you love and your habits, priorities, check your bank records, and you could learn about yourself and your values also.
Now that's interesting. Imagine that. Imagine you went through your bank statement and you had a look at what you spent your money on, right? So then you'd have like these. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into an Excel spreadsheet in our own mind. And the first column, right, would be, what would it be, Tonya? What would be the first thing?
Things that you love or things that you've purchased.
Okay, so let's go clothes. First item can be clothes.
Yeah.
Let's go. The next one can be entertainment or event. Yes. Yep. Okay, there you go. So shows that you go and see. Sean, you're on the money here. Sean, bloody genius. Seriously, hand him the mic, please. Right. I don't know about you guys. My Excel spreadsheet's already working right now. The next one, let's go. What do you reckon? Food and crystals.
I love food and crystals. Avichka. Hey, Teresa. Beautiful.
I'm going to be honest with you, Avichka. My crystal list is really low at the moment.
I'll have to check out my PayPal account and go, what have I been buying lately?
Oh, that's quite funny. But I'm sure for a lot of you, your crystal account.
For those that have just joined, we're talking about, Sean's brought up the topic that money, that when we look at what we spend our money on, as to what our values are. Was that right? Values? Did I get that right?
Pretty much. In a nutshell, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So then you'd look at, go on. Wow, this is really
a good example. I went yesterday to a local shop. A girl's got a Western shop, and I always support her. She's in Seymour. Branded Dusty Lane is the name of her business. I'll give her a plug because she's awesome. And
Absolutely.
She's a sweetheart. I was there and I said to her, now I'm on a bit of a budget because I'm traveling and I've got to, be sensible. And I'm like, then I found a cushion that I loved and I was like, I really need that cushion.
Of course you do.
And I was
Poor
like,
Andrew.
I deserve that cushion. I'm buying that because I know exactly where it's going to go. So
okay, the next column that you can have for your Excel spreadsheet is pillows. So
yes, homewares. I love homewares.
Self-indulgence is what we'll call it. We'll go down that path. It would be amazing. It would be quite scary. The cushion wanted to come home with you. Yes, that's right, Jen.
I went in to get sunglasses. Came out with the cushion and sunglasses.
I like a bitch because some women buy shoes and bags. I'm candles and crystals. Absolutely, you got to pick your poison there. I think it is. But you know what would be quite interesting, going back to Sean's theory, is now that you have a look at. So what I like about this one is that we're using money as an energy, right? So it's energy that we've actually been given to us. And now what we do is with that energy, we do spend it on whatever we like or we see fit. So now it's a bit of a, geez, we could write a whole book on this, Sean. It could be the whole self-worth through your Excel spreadsheet on your finances is what the name of the book. That's the first title I've come up with, Sean. We might have to rejig it a bit, but I'm with you, mate. It would be, yep.
No, you're right. I was just going to say, isn't it funny how we can manifest though as well, or how things come to fruition? It just popped into my head. We're going to London for 2 weeks in May, right? Just as an example, right? And so I had to get tickets, and we planned to book last year. The longer out, the cheaper it is. So we were getting to the point where, oh my God, we've got to get the tickets. And then, of course, passports had expired, so that's another whole thing. But in my spare account, which is my savings account, was the exact money for the tickets. I mean, to the dollar.
What, business class or economy?
No, economy. Economy's dear enough right now. Still,
I know.
Time.
I just want to gauge where you're at, Tonia. But yeah, okay.
So yeah, I was like, it was to the dollar. I'm serious. I shit you not. Yep. That was for the travel insurance as well. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Because I don't touch that account, so I don't even look at it, and I actually hadn't been on for ages, so I didn't know what was in there or what wasn't. And then when I went, I've got to get these tickets. Let's go to the account, exact amount. Yes, thank you. You're the best.
Now, Mr. Guinness over here says, what about a column for the spreadsheet called important stuff? Rupert, it's too ambiguous. Important stuff. Okay, so Rupert, if you and I had an important stuff thing, in your important stuff would be a bike, a pair of cycling shoes, the helmet, and all these kind of stuff. My important stuff would be totally different. So I think it would have to be, you can't put important stuff, because important stuff could be food, could be clothing, it could be something to do with your work, it could be something to do with your kids, it could be important is way too ambiguous, because what's important for you is not important for others. And then, so I think you've got to really put it down into different categories. Sorry, Roops, you have to go into subgroups of that. The idea is great. We want to encourage your ideas. Because
I like everything.
Because you know what? Wait, Roops, Ben Murphy's would go into my important stuff. Okay, that's what I'm saying, Rupert. That's what I'm worried about. It's not so much you, it's me. Okay.
Well, you can do it now on your bank. If you notice, like I'm with, or with the bank I'm with, it's got categories. You spent this on fuel. You've spent this on groceries. I'm like, holy shit, do I spend that on groceries?
Yes. Oh, here we go. Tony Ann, our numbers lady, talking about you know what, Tony Ann, I reckon you have not popped up on this feed. By the way, Happy New Year. I hope you're well, my dear friend. Up until the time we started talking numbers and Excel spreadsheets.
Yes.
Tony Ann's just appeared. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Tony Ann, our numerologist. She's the expert in the field. Read out what she's got. I always love to hear what Tony Ann's got.
So Tony Ann's put, hi guys, as a Virgo. Now he's a fellow Virgo, Tony. So this is, I don't think Tony's as much a Virgo as what you are, Tony Ann, to be honest. But anyway, as a Virgo, I love dumping my account into a spreadsheet and analysing. You do learn a lot.
Yeah,
I love
same here. Look, I do that as well. I'm with
Do
her
you?
on that. Oh, it freaks me out. It freaks me out how much I spend on stuff, like even coffee. Like, seriously? Like, I basically own 3 cafes by now in the last 3 years by the amount of money I've spent on coffee. Tony Ann, in saying that, I haven't changed my ways though, although I know where my money goes. Are we supposed to change as Virgos? This is what I need to know, Tony Ann. Where are we at? But it is a good thing. Yeah, we like to be organized as Virgos. We like to know where things are going. We need clarity in our lives is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. Rupert's popped in here. Sean's point's very good. Not too dissimilar to how we can look at our own emotions, such as fears, etc. It comes down to accountability and ownership of how we spend, react, and feel. And that's an interesting one. That is an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Because I know for many years I would feel guilty and I would hide what I spent on things. And even from my partner who couldn't care less. But my mum used to do that with my dad. So I did that, kind of was down that path until I sat back and went, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it just was something I automatically did and didn't think about. So there was shame around spending, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one.
Okay, that's it. Jen's got a great one here. She goes, I have an account I call Abundance. That's pretty cool. So tell me the theory behind this one where what's the Abundance account all about? Is it a savings account you just put money in, or is it something where you're trying to attract abundance into? I'd be quite interested. That the name sounds cool. Just want to know what's
because you can call all your accounts and you can also on your phone group everything in a folder. So I've got a I love travel, so I use affirmations to actually head the all of my apps even. So it's I can't even think of them off the top of my head, but yeah, it's attracting energy to whatever it is that you're utilizing a lot and putting a great name on it. So if you've got an account called Abundance, that's going to really attract all that you need.
Yeah,
when you think about it.
Yeah, I've got one called Outgoings, and it does exactly what it says. It's not my favorite, Tonia. I'm going to be honest with you. Jen, this is a good future. Groceries are terrible at the moment, Tonia. Yeah, they are. They're expensive. Oh, Gay's on board. Gay, so good to hear from you. She goes, bummer, I missed you guys. We'll listen to the replay now. Happy New Year, Gay. I hope you're well. I'd love to know, you had, before we knocked off last year, there was a lot going on for you, Gay. There was change of house. There was family issues going on. What else was there, Tonia? They were the 2 major things that were going on. That you had to get through. So, and there's always health and everything like that. So, Gay, do drop in next week. Let us know how you're going. Today's just been a share of where we're at, what's going on for us. Same stuff as we do every week on this community. There's no script. There just is. There's just this thing called, what's happened this week? And as a community, we just try to work it out, which is really, really nice. I love it. We've had some really good insights today.
Absolutely.
It's been my God, I haven't had a bank account in years. Embracing life says, how do you get paid, Erica? You have to have a bank account. Do you live in a cash society? Because it's like you've moved back to the 70s, Erica. I'd like to join you in this cash society. Let's go back to cash. I'd love that.
I love it. Ooh. I love plenty too.
Do you know what, Avichka? Give Tonia, who's really good with refinancing mortgages and all that? Tonia Reeves, she's good. Tonia's got this little thing when it comes to money and saving $1 from the banks. Tonia Reeves is your lady. Let me tell you that. She's got some good hints. Avichka, get onto it. But sounds like you're, refinance. Don't pay the banks anymore, ladies and gentlemen. If you knew what I pay in bank fees, I had a look the other day. And yeah, I love this. You look at what your bank fees are for the year, and for some reason, the next report that comes out the next day in the paper, they go, well, the bank's just had a record profit of 7.8 billion this year. And I'm going, no shit, they had a record profit. Look how much I'm paying them. That's like, so Avichka, my point is refinance, save a few pennies, don't give them any more cash. That's all I want to say.
I love Bridget's slavings, not savings. That's a beauty.
Yep.
Hey, Tina. How are you?
Tina, how are you?
Yeah, so we've got Tony Ann's. We'll wrap up the show. I think this is a great one to wrap up with. When I replaced the idea of money in my life, I allowed more. I used to have spending shame as well as what, I did as well, Tonia. But now I picture the billions of dollars that move around the planet every day, and I just tap into the flow so it flows through me. Spending is therefore necessary to keep the flow going. I love it.
Yep, it's a nice one to end on. It really is.
Great share.
Yeah, I don't think anything else has to be said except for thanks so much for that, Tony, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, awesome. So it's time to wrap up. We've come to the end of our first show of the year, and God, I better stop talking. I better get off, and I'll have to talk to the dog now, won't I?
Well, look, Tonia, everybody loves you. You've got to understand that you've got this golden voice. You've got this wealth of knowledge and inspiration as well. So we love hearing what you've got to say. You've got some amazing stories to share, and a lot of people are here because they love tapping into that. But I think a lot of us are here because it's a community that works. We just hang out and we just have a chat, and when we're up, we talk about the good times. When we're down, we talk about the bad times, and sometimes we find there's a common thread amongst all of us, and we just go, hey, let's have a chat about that. And I think it's really, really healthy. And I'm loving the fact that we've got a lot of spiritually, I think, minded people here, but we're actually expanding onto more other sorts of people, but also there are a couple more guys coming on board, which is really nice as well. So I think men are really starting to share in a better space now. So that's really nice as well. But yeah, all right, well, guys, I'm going to wish you all a fantastic week. And, let's just hang out for 2023 and see what happens. And let's ride this crazy wave called life and hopefully get through it together. But thank you so much for all your insights and just your support. So thanks for that, guys. I'm signing out. Tonia, always lovely to be with you and hang out with you. So she's got the sage going. All right, that's me signing off. Bye-bye.
Good on you, everyone. See you same time, same place next week, and have an amazing week. And we'll catch up again next week. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.